Transforming the travel industry has always been at the heart of what Amadeus does. With NDC, the same is true. We collaborate and invest to make NDC meet the needs of all. By smoothing the bumps, achieving consistency, and refining this new common language, we are helping make NDC a strong standard that delivers for airlines, travel agents, corporations, and travelers. We are committed. We are leading the way. Are you ready to join us? NDC is about personal choice, helping meet the demands of today's consumer through the channel of their choice. COVID-19 brought travel almost to a standstill. But it also showed the importance, more than ever, of sharing real-time, relevant information and new types of offers. Through NDC, airlines can accelerate the creation of this new content. Because when airlines know the who, what, and why of a traveler, they can provide content that allows travel sellers to better serve customers with a more personalized and context-specific offer. With our expertise, experience, and customer knowledge, we deliver what the industry needs. Amadeus already brings information, offers, and content from over 400 airlines to travel sellers and corporations around the world. And now, with NDC, that content will be more dynamic, richer, and relevant. One pipe, one screen, one interface to compare, personalize, make, and service bookings. Wherever the content sits, we deliver it, fully integrated. The Amadeus Travel Platform brings it all together. We normalize it, and we deliver it to the world. It's going to be a hybrid world for some years. NDC content and other technologies will coexist. But we have that covered, now and in the future, with innovative and scalable solutions. You can cross the bridge when the time is right for you. Flexibility is the new normal. The travel industry must adapt. NDC enables this change. Refunds, cancellations, new boarding procedures, and restrictions will come and go. We built servicing capability as core in our platform, not as a nice-to-have. And the need for efficient servicing has never been greater. Amadeus will enable you to make your business agile, information-led, and service-driven, powering NDC forward. The opportunity is there to build a more dynamic, tailored, responsive industry. The collaboration is there. We understand airlines, travel sellers, corporations, and travelers. We can make it work for all, not just for some, encouraging innovation, anticipating new services, and supporting all our customers. And we are ready for recovery and reboot. Ready for you. Join our journey.
Good afternoon, everybody. I think we are all set and ready to start the webinar. So over to you, Mr. Bansal.
A very good afternoon to you all. It's my pleasure to welcome you all on behalf of Amadeus for this very special webinar, Get NDC Ready with Amadeus. I know it's very difficult to take time out, especially when the industry is dealing with the ongoing challenges, as well as the webinar fatigue. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time. We all know that travel broadens horizons, it creates networking opportunities, and it helps grow economies. Travel and tourism industry is one of the biggest contributors to the GDP. Travel powers progress, and Amadeus powers travel. Amadeus has been pioneering the travel technology market in India for more than 27 years now. Amadeus has been working with its partners to facilitate better and more rewarding journeys while shaping the future of travel. For more than a year and a half now, the global travel sector has been facing huge challenges. Even today, travelers still fear COVID-19 while they are traveling, and they feel there is a need for correct and updated information as the rules and policies in itself are changing very, very fast. We are now finding ourselves in a whole new world of travel to which corporations, travelers, travel agencies, we all need to adapt. During this time, our travel industry also has been evolving, fueled by digitalization, fueled by personalization, and technologies like NDC, which are increasingly being used by the various airlines. New technologies need to be embraced, and we need to overcome roadblocks on this journey. As the industry contemplates and explores new ways of recovery, technology and innovation will be powerful enablers of this change. In fact, 97% of the travelers already say that technology is helping to increase their confidence in traveling. We at Amadeus are committed to working together with you as well as the wider industry to rethink travel and to reignite travel confidence. And we have for you this webinar today, Get NDC Ready with Amadeus in collaboration with TAFI. Without any further ado, let me introduce Mr. Ajay Prakash, President, Travel Agents Federation of India, to kickstart the webinar. Ajay is the founder president of IIPT India also, International Institute for Peace Through Tourism, which is based on a vision of world's largest industry, travel and tourism, becoming the world's first global peace industry, and the belief that every traveler is potentially an ambassador of peace. Ajay has participated in various industry meetings across the world and has been often featured as an expert on aviation travel and tourism. Ajay is a kite enthusiast. He has attended and organized many kite festivals, both overseas and in India. Over to you, Ajay.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bansal. Good afternoon, everybody. And a big thank you to Amadeus for holding this webinar. As Rakeshji pointed out, yes, there has been a certain amount of Zoom fatigue that has set in over the last 20 months. But I think it is important that we participate in these online events, which add to our understanding and to our business acumen and growth. So, coming to NDC, which is called the new distribution capability, let me say that it is not new. This was talked about even 10 years ago when I was last president of TAFI. But the fact is that it is here to stay. You know, airlines have always touted its benefits. I mean, they almost made it out as the next greatest thing since sliced bread. But that's because it helps them to unbundle their fares. It helps them to rake in ancillary fees. You know, just as a aside, in 2019, which was the first full pre-pandemic year where we had business happening, airlines got almost $110 billion they collected globally in ancillary fees. Unfortunately, that didn't trickle down as a benefit to travel agents, but that's something that we will need to address going forward. There is now a renewed push by IATA and the airlines for the implementation of NDC. And the easiest way of doing that is to make booking through other channels more expensive, which is what they've done through surcharges, through sometimes offering lower RBDs and lower fares on the NDC platform. So yes, it is the future, whether we like it or not. And therefore it is better to embrace it, to understand it, and to come to terms with it and learn how to do business under this new dispensation. Some of the rich content that was promised is still to be loaded on. But one assumes as time goes on and more airlines come on board, some of this will be addressed as well. Now, for NDC, you and I as an agent could approach an airline directly as well. Or we could go through an aggregator, and there are various aggregators across the country. But I have been an Amadeus user for almost 30 years now. That's the sole GDS I have in my office. And I must say it has been a very robust and a very user-friendly and a very reliable platform to work on. And therefore, when you have a GDS, Amadeus, offering us NDC connectivity, I think there's something in it for each one of us, and it should prove to be equally robust. So I will not take more time because I think it's more important that all of us understand what is the product and what are the features of the product that is being offered to us by Amadeus. And I hope that as we move into the NDC regime and we embrace it and we start doing business on this platform, this will also hopefully open up another revenue stream, because you will be able to offer more services, and hopefully you will not hesitate in charging for them as agents. So back over to Amadeus. Let's proceed. Thank you very much, all the TAFI members, for being here today. Thank you all. Back to you.
Thank you, Ajay. Thanks for the good context and what the future beholds for us, and for the bold statement that we need to really move forward. Thanks for sharing your experiences on the usage of Amadeus system for the past so many years. It's great to have subscribers like you using the Amadeus system. I would now introduce the other speakers and the rest of the panelists for the session today. First of all, Ramona. Ramona is the Senior Vice President, India, Southeast Asia, and Inside Sales, Travel Sellers Amadeus. She leads all commercial activity with customers in these Asia Pacific markets. She is also responsible for rolling out inside sales channels for targeted customers in Asia Pacific. Her previous roles include leading the consolidators and networks segment in the global organization. She was earlier Senior Vice President of Retail in Travel Channels, looking for all retail customers in Asia Pacific. Ramona joined Amadeus in 1999 and has worked in both the travel channels and the airline businesses. She has held positions in several departments such as customer service, product management, account management, and sales engineering. She's worked across many markets, including Australia, France, and Thailand. Ramona is a qualified engineer and holds an electrical engineering as well as a computer science degree from UK. We also have with us Nitesh Senapati. Nitesh is an experienced professional in the product strategy and go-to-market. He has more than 15 years of experience encompassing the full product lifecycle from concept to commercialization. He is based in Singapore and currently leading and responsible for the NDC growth in Asia Pacific for Amadeus Travel Sellers. Leveraging his customer knowledge, his key and deep understanding of Asia and the knowledge of Amadeus systems, he is coordinating the activities related to NDC growth in the Asia Pacific region, as well as representing Asia Pacific in the global NDC program within Amadeus. His objective is to make this new technical standard a success for all the players, travel agencies, airlines, the users, and help in adoption. Last but not the least, we have Swati Bhatia. She is the head of front office products and solutions. She oversees the product management and deployment activities of new and existing products in India and subcontinent. Her area of focus is collaborating with various teams for bringing new and emerging travel technologies to the Amadeus users. She's an expert in driving and managing adoption of new solutions and technologies. Swati has been part of the Amadeus team for over 20 years, and she's also a trained vocalist in light and traditional Indian music. Well, we are going to talk about the need and relevance for NDCs in today's environment. What is the status of Amadeus NDCX program? I'm sure you would be interested to know which airlines are already available on NDC today, which ones are in the pipeline, how can you get to see the NDC availability? Is there a change in the process? How does the end-to-end flow look like? What is the difference between the earlier and the NDC process? And I'm sure you will have a lot of questions and answers related to the process and to the whole framework. Now, we will have a session in the end for question and answers. We encourage you to use the question and answer tab throughout the session to ask any questions you may have. We have reserved some time at the end to answer the question, as many questions as we can. So without taking any more time, I would like to hand over to Ramona to take the webinar forward.
Thank you, Rakesh, for the very, very nice introduction. And thank you, Mr. Prakash and TAFI, for having me here. It's a great pleasure and to be here and talk about NDC together with my colleagues. So if we move to the next slide on some of the trends that we are seeing. So given that we've had a bit of a bumpy year, and now with Omicron, we still, towards this particular holiday season, see some definitely some positive signs of travel picking up in different parts of the world. And if we look at the Amadeus worldwide schedule data, we see rather bright horizons for India in 2022. No, we see flight schedules are significantly increasing, and the gap between 2022 versus 2019 is certainly narrowing at a fast pace, especially in February, where there is less than minus 10%. If we move to the next graph, we see that for Asia, there is a more conservative approach. But we do see a bit of an uptick in Q1, where the gap is roughly minus 17%. So this overall shows us that, recovery is different in different parts of the world. If we zoom into Asia Pacific, we do see India recovering at a very fast pace. However, if we look into 2019 and without trying to crystal ball gaze, we still believe there are peaks and troughs, but the outlook is positive. And the whole idea here is to say, how can we leverage as the travel industry this positivity despite unknowns in the future? Yeah. So if we move onward to the next slide, so these are some statistics from a recent survey that was done to show the fact that yes, travelers are very eager to travel, but there are some underlying concerns that all of us have because all of us are travelers. And again, the top three, one is obviously the fear of catching COVID. No, I think all of us have heard about the Omicron. I'm actually in Europe at the moment. The numbers are certainly rising. And of course, the norms of caution are very, very different in different parts of the world. No, all about the lack of social distancing, wearing masks, and so on. So this is for a traveler certainly a concern. The next big one, and something that's very, very close to all of us, is the whole quarantine and self-isolation piece, especially before and after travel. Again, different countries have different requirements and standards. So, for example, in Thailand, back in November, we opened the country to 64. We opened our country to 64 other countries with only one day quarantine or until your PCR tests return. However, a lot of although we do see an uptick in travel, we do also realize that it's slow because a lot of countries, upon their return, they may need to do a longer period of quarantine. So that is something that is of concern to travelers and can hamper a bit the start of travel. And of course, last but not least, changing restrictions resulting in last-minute cancellations, because this, again, depending on the peaks and troughs we have, depending on the variants, depending on various things, travelers are hesitant about all the changing restrictions and, of course, the last-minute cancellations. But given these concerns, the positive part for us in the travel industry is travel agencies become very valuable to a traveler because there is a very the single source of truth with what requirements are is very difficult to come by. No, so again, travelers are expecting relevant choices. They're expecting personalization, flexibility to ensure safety, and of course, a frictionless travel. So who do they, if they have all these needs, who do they go to? So of course, they go to travel agencies. They may go online, but eventually down the line, they would like to speak to someone in order to feel assured, no, given these restrictions that we see. Okay, so this is why for us, I do encourage all our travel agencies in all of Asia Pacific and especially in India, given the technology is on the forefront of things, to enrich your retailing capabilities in order to meet customer expectations. And we know for a fact that content fragmentation is definitely a challenge, even pre-COVID. And I do believe that NDC is one of the key ingredients to helping bridge this gap and making a travel a success. Yeah. So now let's move on to the next slide to see what's in it for the different players in the travel ecosystem with NDC, right? Because NDC, there's benefits for everyone, for travelers, for agencies, for airlines, no? So for airlines, certainly NDC gives an airline the ability to control what they offer and to easily adjust airfares when compared to legacy technology, which airlines had to file fares in advance and so on. So this ability to quickly update and change is very much there, with NDC. And in addition, an airline can certainly localize and contextualize information at shopping time. So as an example, an airline can change specific regulations for specific destinations according to travel restrictions very quickly, so that a traveler can certainly enjoy or can certainly see this in real time at the shopping when they are actually shopping for flights. And again, and it will be, we'll elaborate more. NDC for an airline can also give special offers for frequent flyers of an airline. So this is why it becomes a very interesting value proposition for an airline. So what about the traveler? What's in it for them? So today, in the past, yes, when I would book online, for example, I would make a booking. Of course, the cheapest fares were top of mind, but today it's not so. I think for a lot of travelers, it's more of the flexibility, the cancellation policy, given that they do not want frictionless travel. So they're willing to pay more to travel carefree, if you like, and also this leads or gives opportunity to airlines to be more creative with their offerings. Okay, so now if we move to the travel agencies, what does NDC give them? So it gives agencies the ability to offer personalized service to travelers. Agencies now have access to a broader pool of services from the airlines that they will then be able to craft personalized trips out of all these options that will suit a traveler's need. Now, as mentioned earlier. And in addition, NDC does provide a simpler and easier workflow for agencies. So in the past, when you had travel consultants, they had to learn all the different cryptic commands. But with the NDC solution on Amadeus, everything is point and click. So even if you have very complex commands or you have to do very complex itineraries, you have to make changes and so on, all this is point and click, which also gives a higher peace of mind to everyone involved, because I think all of us are very familiar with ADMs. No, I don't need to elaborate how difficult those are and cause us grief. But again, if everything is automatically calculated, if we have a GUI that helps us and helps our travel consultants, this becomes an easier option for everyone and reduces obviously the chance of error. So in closing, we need to continue to navigate through the ups and downs of the current pandemic. We need to learn to live with it and make the best. There's still peaks and troughs that will happen. We have an opportunity not just to rebuild travel, but to make it better. Travelers' needs are certainly changing very, very rapidly. And as a travel industry, we need to be able to cater to these changes. No, and so I believe that with enhanced travel retailing is a key enabler for us in the industry to change. And certainly it's time that we all embrace various items, especially in the technology area like digitalization, and certainly technologies like NDC to strengthen your retailing capability. So thank you once again. And with this, I passed the floor to my colleague, Nitesh.
Thank you, Ramona. Thank you, Rakesh. And thank you, Ajay, for the very wonderful introduction. And that kind of puts it very right to start talking on my topic on NDCX. Now, we talked about a lot about change, how change is happening in the industry, how the retail travel ecosystem is changing, how NDC is coming to the fore, and it's helping with the digitalization of retail. So the question is how at Amadeus we are embracing this change. How are we adapting ourselves to make available all these new technologies to you? So at the core of our retailing strategy is Amadeus Travel Platform that you can see on screen. And it's nothing but evolution of our GDS systems that we were known before now, that you have always known us. And in the last 5-10 years, we have taken our GDS to the next level. And this is to allow us to answer the needs of this new ecosystem, the new travel stakeholders, the rapidly changing environment, to help you address those needs that we previously could not do so in the same way as we could do now. The first thing that we have done, and back in 2017, we started with it, is transitioning our system to open systems. And we have now completed the migration, and pretty proud to say that even today, we are just the only GDS or only travel platform that are completely based on open systems. But what does that mean for you? What are open systems? Open systems are technology that really allow us to provide a scalable, performant, and a very flexible platform. And we are already reaping the benefits of this change by seeing the results on how we integrate the NDC content onto our platform. And this has really allowed us to integrate this content coming from additional technology sources other than Edifact, which we have used this technology for the last 30 years. Now we have NDC coming in as XML, and we are really plugging it into our Amadeus Travel Platform. What that allows us is that put all the content, regardless of which technology source it is coming from, and put that into the core of our platform. And then we would be able to expose that into many of our point of sale channels. Say, for example, if you are a travel agency using our offline platform, which is Selling Platform Connect, within one platform, you would be able to get all content coming from any technology, Edifact, either NDC, or maybe proprietary APIs for some of the other smaller airlines. And now we are not really stopping at that, and our strategy is not just about air content. Even going beyond, today we have million over hotels, we have car transfers, leisure, insurance, payment providers, and many more. But today, as this is a webinar about NDC, and we need to talk about more about NDC in detail, I'll focus myself mostly on NDC. So with NDC, what we are doing, with this pipe of content that we have integrated onto Amadeus Travel Platform, this really allows us to integrate the content in a way that you would have normally seen in your day-to-day lives. So what that allows is that within one same platform or the same interface that you're using, you would now be able to see all the content coming together. Now, today with XML technology, which NDC is reliant on, it opens the door for many other providers to simply connect the airlines through their APIs and offer the content. So you might see many different choices that are there with you right now. And I'm sure you would have been approached by X, Y, Z, or many other companies coming to you saying that, look, we have got the NDC content for you. Would you like to connect with us? But let me tell you the key advantages that we bring in through the scalability of our platform that would really add value to your business and how we differentiate us from many other providers. So first one is about integration. So we are not just an aggregator, we are just connecting a pipe of LCC and NDC onto you, but we are really integrating the content to the core. What that means is that once the content is integrated to the core, either you're online or offline user on Cell Connect, if you say search Delhi to New York, what we do is that behind the scene, what we will do is that we will collect all the content that is out there, regardless of technology, NDC, EDIFACT, LCC. We'll try to sort it out, adapt it, massage the information, and give back that recommendation to you so that in one interface, you have all the content available to propose to your customers. Now, behind the scene, what also is happening in the industry is that as NDC is an evolving game. And as Ajay was alluding to earlier, like it was 10 years before NDC came in, now it's coming, and it is rapidly changing over the last 2-3 years. So IATA is coming out with 2 versions of an API every year, and every airline is constantly upgrading and trying to put in new features. Now that is good for us that more and more changes are happening on the API side. But the challenge is that out there in the industry or in the marketplace, there are many different APIs, many different IT providers, and many different versions. And all these versions are different to each other. So the complexity is combining all those different ones and putting it together and normalizing it. That's about my point number 2. We are doing the heavy lifting for you, trying to normalize all the content together into one place so that you don't see all the complexities and differences that go behind. And we do all that with no additional cost to you. You do not need to worry about if an airline upgrades its API to a newer version, if an airline changes IT provider from one provider to the other. What we will do is that we will normalize all that and give to you in a consistent way, in a one single flow, so that you can focus only on selling your tickets rather than worrying about the technology that is behind. The third point, a very important one, is what this new technology also allows now. So today with NDC, it's really easy for airlines to sell ancillaries on top of their existing fares, really easy for them to unbundle it, and really easy and fast for them to really create new products on the merchandising front. Today with airlines, we have seen seats and bags, but we expect with the technology for them to create newer and more exciting products that will create a true unique service offering, which is personalized for you, personalized for the traveler, and really create that unique differentiation that adds to your service offering. The number 4 part is really about the B2B part or the agency network part. We have really been in the business on the B2B side, offering a consistent platform to you in the last 30 years. You're really used to the platform. You know how to book, how to service, and how to do your end-to-end integration with all the different products that you have, maybe an itinerary product, maybe your mid-back office, maybe your duty of care product. What it needs to happen is that even with NDC, you would expect the same things to happen. Your traveler or your customer would expect the same level of service that he expects on an EDIFACT booking, because the traveler is not going to ask, did you book on NDC or did you book on EDIFACT? He's simply asking a service that is his right to ask, saying that, okay, if I've made a booking with you, would you be able to service this booking? So what we have ensured on our platform is that we see an end-to-end booking flow or end-to-end flow for you that is really interpolable between different systems that you use, Cell Connect, API. You offer the key servicings, which are very important for your customers, which is any post-booking services, cancel, refund, change, disruption handling. What happens if a schedule change happens? What happens if anything changes in the airline side? Then again, it's very important that it's not just about making a booking. It's about how that booking goes to your backend financial systems. How are the reports coming out? So for that, we have essentially ensured that our back office feed, which is the AIR that we call it, is fully compliant with NDC transactions. Then a unique advantage on our side is also because where we are placed. We are not just a distribution partner for the travel sellers, but we are a leading partner for airlines in providing IT systems. And we are providing an NDC box called Altia NDC. And that's really taken today by over 12 airlines which are live, and another 15 or so in different stages which we expect them to be live in the upcoming year. And then we have a lot of Altia customers which we expect them to migrate to this Altia NDC, and which will really create synergies with us. Because think about it, in the earlier times when we had one Altia platform and Amadeus, you enjoyed the benefits of single PNR. That would not be there in the NDC world. However, having an airline system and a distribution system all sitting on one platform will definitely have synergies, and will definitely see value going forward in having Altia carriers on our platform. Then a very important differentiator is our trusted support, which is provided across the globe, and you can depend on our support for any issues that you have. And you have always been doing it. We continue to do that even with NDC. So you don't have to worry about going to these different providers for support. You can trust your known and trusted help desk to support you even with NDC. And last, scalability. So we are not here just to make 100 or 200, 500 or 1,000 bookings. We really are aiming at making millions of bookings. So our platform is really capable and made to adapt to scale to that levels. So it's really important that when you choose a partner for your NDC, you keep that in mind. Then on the number 5, that's in that point, is we provide the same efficient levels of payment processing, so that without any disruption, you can still pay through BSP, either by cash or by credit card. And last of it, NDC is a new technology, but it also should make commercial sense for you. So we are making that content in a way, or we are having contracts with the airline in a way that it really makes commercial sense, and it really adds value to all the stakeholders in the travel ecosystem. And it does not drastically change what you have always been doing so. Now, with that said, let me move on to talk about a bit more about the progress that we have made. So we started our NDCX program back in 2017, and we came out with our first iteration of Travel API in 2019. We went live with a European OTA, and that OTA is still with us and really scaled up enough and making considerable number of bookings. In 2020, following year, we released 2 more things. We released it on our offline platform, Selling Platform Connect, which is our cloud-based platform, and then Sidetrack, which is a self-booking tool for our corporations. Now, that was the preparatory work. And in 2021, that is when we really scaled it up and we started launching it all of the Asia Pacific market. So till today, we're very proud to say that we are present in over 58 countries where we have rolled out NDC solutions. In APAC, most of the countries are already rolled out with over 10K customers. We are really there, and we're really pushing. We really want all our customers to have access to our NDC solutions by end of this year. Going ahead, talking more about a roadmap, but let me also talk a bit more about the functionality side of it, right? So when we talk about functionality, we divide it into 3 different blocks. So starting first with shopping and booking. And I already talked about the values of fully aggregated search. We know that you have always dependent on our platform to have access to all the content. And you will continue to have that. So if you search in our user interface, any itinerary from, say, Delhi to New York, you will be presented with all the options, NDC, EDIFACT. Then you make your choice, what content really you want to book. Then again, we make it available for you to book seats, free and paid, and also bags. And we also see some very interesting content coming up, which the airlines are working on, which will be made available, that will really add value to the amount of additional ancillaries that you could send. Then we have credit card and cash settlement, as we talked about previously, making sure that your payment processes are not disrupted. Coming to the second part, which is around very important part on post-booking servicing. So today we have ensured that all the post-booking services, the main use cases are supported. So today on our platform, you can, after making an NDC booking, you can void, cancel, refund. You can make voluntary changes, be it OND changes, time changes, or cabin class changes. You can all do it without going to the airline. And last, which is about disruption handling. And something that COVID has taught us is that it's very important in these days where situations are very fluid, countries are changing rules, and a stick a drop of a hat, you see a new regulation coming and the airlines changing schedules. It's very important for travel sellers in the indirect channel to keep abreast of what's happening, keep getting notified of what the changes are happening on the PNR so that they can essentially notify the customers to provide the same level of service. So today we handle involuntary changes, time changes, schedule changes, and cancellation from airlines. And we are even working for more advanced use cases in the upcoming year. The idea is overall to have our post-booking servicing to the same level that we have EDIFACT in the upcoming years. We are not completely there yet, but we are very strong in what we do around post-booking. Then on the integration part, which I covered a bit before, our mid-back office feed is ready. So in case that you have mid-back office, you can simply take our new NDC compliant AIR files, make some small changes on your MBO, and you would be able to process NDC transactions. Second, a PNR with active flight segment. And we kept it as active flight segment instead of creating passive, because we know that with an active flight segment like an HK, you today are notified about schedule changes, time changes with the segment status changes. And that's really important. And we would ensure that continues to be done so that you are end-to-end integrated in your systems. And with all that said, we have made our systems very interpolable within each other because we connect to the core platform. What that ensures is that if you create a booking on the API, you can service that on your Cell Connect platform. If you have a self-booking tool, then you can service it vice versa. So it's very important that all the solutions are interpolable, interoperable, which is the need of the time. With that said, I know that you would be very interested on what airlines are we providing today and what we will provide in the upcoming year. Let's move on to look at our airline roadmap on what we have made available today. So today, 4 airlines are already live on our system. American Airlines and Singapore Airlines are already available to travel subscribers in India who have already activated with us. And Air France KLM is technically available. We are waiting for the airlines to launch in India. As and when Air France KLM launches NDC in India, we would be ready to offer that. So from a platform perspective, it is there. Another big airline in Asia Pacific region, Qantas, is already in a piloting stage, and we expect that to go live in the next months. And that will add a lot of deal to especially Asia Pacific customers, because then we are getting a lot of Asian airlines on our platform. Talking about H122, we have a very busy calendar, and I've divided into 3 parts for that for you to understand. The 3 parts are divided as per IT provider. So British Airways and Iberia, part of IAG group, they are part of, like, they have an in-house NDC system. We are connecting it to them. And then in the middle box, these are the Altia NDC carriers. And the unique advantage that we have is that we have really scaled up our integration with Altia so that anytime there are new customers on the Altia platform, we can very quickly get them onboarded and very quickly get them live. So today you see a lot of carriers, but I think the key ones, especially from the Indian market that you would be looking forward are Qatar, Cathay Pacific, and Japan Airlines. These are really big airlines, and they will really add a lot of value. Then we have a North American carrier, United, also coming in the first half of next year. Later part of the year, and what we have also in the pipe are Air Canada, Etihad, Vueling. One thing that I would like to say is that today, these airlines are the ones that we have committed and contracted and really on the roadmap, but this list is not exhaustive. We are already in talks with many other airlines, which are very interesting for the Indian market, very relevant for the Indian market. But I'm not privileged enough today to share that with you because we are in engagement with them. And at a stage where we are confident enough, we will share it through your local teams, and you will see many more airlines added to this roadmap in the upcoming months. Now, enough of talk. I really think that you would now want to see is that how does the content look on our platforms? How easy is to book? How can I book? How does an NDC booking look like? And for that, I'll really take the help of my colleague Swati, who's going to run through a simple demonstration on how easy it is to book NDC content on Amadeus Travel Platform, and then also show you how to get onboarded onto Amadeus. To you, Swati.
Thank you, Nitesh. That was really an excellent introduction to the real-time demo, which we are now going to present to all the participants today. So thank you to Ramona and you for actually setting the scene perfectly. Quite a few takeaways, from the points that you spoke about, that, how the airlines are actually moving towards an environment, to cater to the fact that cheapest fares are not always the ones which are most attractive. And that's exactly what we are going to see now in the live demonstration today on Amadeus Selling Platform Connect, which was promised by Mr. Bansal, when we started the webinar, that today we are actually going to have a live demonstration of how a user of Amadeus Selling Platform Connect will go about booking for NDC content. Just give me a screen. I'm going to put up the live screens online. Okay, so I'm a travel consultant and I'm a user of Amadeus Selling Platform Connect, or SECO as we call it. So the first step, of course, is that you need to sign into the Amadeus system. Now for NDC content, a lot of things are new. And what is also new is the fact that you need to access NDC content. You will be able to access NDC content only on the graphical screen, which actually means a lot less training and a lot less familiarization time. So the moment you will log into Selling Platform Connect, the consultants are going to see this information about NDC. So if anybody hasn't got an opportunity to get acquainted with what NDC is, we really do make an effort to show them these welcome screens so that they can get in touch with their account managers. And they are very welcome to attend our training programs on NDC, which are happening quite regularly. We're conducting almost 2 in a month. So we would really invite everyone and encourage everybody to please make sure that the staff in our travel agency subscribers have already attended these very detailed sessions. So right away, I'm going to take you to an air search. So to keep it very simple today, I've divided this session into 2 parts. It's a short session. First, we will be seeing an American Airlines availability. I'll show you how you can differentiate an NDC fare from a regular non-NDC or EDIFACT fare, as it's called. And as we saw, a lot of points in Nitesh's presentation about how Amadeus is bringing to you the EDIFACT and NDC and the content all together in one common interface. Let's have a look at it. So for example, let's take the example of American Airlines first. I'm just pulling out an availability just from, let's say, JFK to Miami. We on 6th of February, and let's say I want to return a little later, maybe on 16th, perhaps. Yes. And I'm saying that, taking the example of American Airlines. Now, if you notice, it's the same selling platform Connect, which the travel consultants are using even today, but it just has a lot of options. It has a lot of graphical, pointers to tell you, if you want a public negotiated fare or a corporate fare, do you want to see all the content in one place, or do you want to exclude or include NDC content as you like, and many more options, which are on a point and click basis. So I pulled out a search, and now what the system is doing in the background is that it's actually putting together the results which have now come up. Now, if I would like to just bring to your attention the highlight of the solution. So we say that on the common interface, on the same interface, Amadeus is bringing you NDC and non-NDC or EDIFACT content as its core. So what you're looking at here is it's a regular fare. But if you scroll down a little bit, you will see that there is a fare which has this indicator. And if you hover your mouse, it says new distribution capability. So that's your indicator to see an NDC fare. Okay, so like we keep saying that on the same screen, you will be able to see both the NDC and non-NDC content. This is what we are showing to you now in live on the selling platform screen. Now, along with the fares, we also see that the entire point for the airlines is also to be able to bring to you a lot of services and a lot of information. So for example, if I was to click on the show services tab here, the airline is actually bringing to you a whole lot of information of inclusions, exclusions. Mr. Ajay also mentioned about rich merchandising. So as you can see, slowly and gradually, you will see a lot of rich content coming up on these screens. And also things like important information like baggage information is available, in terms of the number of pieces allowed and in terms of the carry-on or the checked-in baggage allowed, etc. Another very interesting thing with NDC is that the ability for an airline to offer you that, just for an extra amount, if you want more flexibility. So what are the kind of upgrades which are available? So here, if you notice in this NDC fare, the airline is making information about the kind of upgrades which are available. And I clicked on the option of Main Plus, and it's showing me down below what all is included in this particular upsell offer. Okay. And with the pointers and the hyperlinks, you can continue to look for information on fare conditions, on what kind of fare family this fare belongs to, what's the code, what are the cancellation and the change restrictions, etc. So to keep it very simple, let's say we go with a regular NDC booking. All we need to do is select the flight. And once I select the flight, what the system starts doing in the background is that it's put together the air segments, just the way we are used to. And now we just need to complete the booking, adding the passenger information and contact information, etc. Now, just for the benefit of this particular demonstration, I would also like to show you a flow where you can actually complete a booking using Amadeus profiles. So for example, here, I'm pulling out a profile of a passenger so that we can see how easy it is to actually complete a booking. If you already have a traveler profile, all you need to do is pull out the profile. So here I pulled out the traveler profile, and I'm going to just transfer this particular profile information into a new PNR that I'm creating. And this time I will be showing you the NDC flow of Singapore Airlines and how it shows up on Amadeus Selling Platform Connect. So as you can see from the profile, the information has come up of the passenger, I have the email address, which has been automatically appended into the booking and also his mobile number. Now I'll show you a Singapore Airlines booking. So let's say Delhi to Singapore. Okay, I'm going to take a date and I'm going to say Singapore Airlines because that's what I'm using for my NDC example. Okay, and I put in a return date as well. All right, and here I go, I do a search. Now, a new nomenclature, you know, with the advent of any new technology, there is also the introduction to certain new, you know, names as we call it. So in the world of NDC, there is a word called offers. So now what the airline has returned to you is an offer, which very simply needs to be converted into an order. So again, for Singapore Airlines, as you can see, there are NDC fares. If you see here, this is a private fare of 26,137. And if I hover my mouse, it says new distribution capability. And if I go down, then you will see that there are certain fares which are the regular public fares where there is no NDC tag. So just to keep it simple, let's go with an NDC fare and I show you how to make the booking. So I select this particular flight. And like I said, because the PNR has been constructed using a profile, the name has come up on its own. So all I need to do is tell the airline that I'm good to go and I say book. Now at this time, what the airline is doing is that it's actually converting this particular offer into an order. And what we need to learn in the new NDC world is that now with the airline record locator and the Amadeus record locator, you will also get a new number, which is called the order ID. Okay. So in the new world, in the new fast emerging world of NDC, everybody should get acquainted that when we are talking NDC, there is another third element besides the airline record locator and the Amadeus PNR. There is an order ID that we are talking about. So now, if you wish, you can straight away go ahead and issue the ticket. I'll just very quickly take you through some of the points which Nitesh also mentioned in his presentation. You know, things like post-booking services, you know, for example, to issue a ticket, to canceling, to modifying or to generating an itinerary are available, you know, on a point and click basis. If I want to maybe, you know, add seats, I think most of the Amadeus subscribers are already well acquainted, you know, with the graphical seat map, which comes up on the system, which will allow you to actually pick out a seat number. So for example, if I, you know, pick out a seat, and if you notice here that there is a charge to this seat, so the system would allow you to actually book the seat. And when I issue the ticket, it's going to issue the ticket and the EMD together. Okay. So let me just show that to you very quickly. So I'm going back to the booking file. What we saw now is that we have booked a ticket and we've also booked an ancillary service, which is the seat. Yeah. So here you can see the ticket price and you can see the seat price as well. And now I'm clicking on issue and pay. So once I click on issue and pay, all I need to do is just come down here and select my form of payment. Form of payments, popular form of payments in BSP like cash and credit card are very much available on the system. And this particular ticket has now air segment and it also has an ancillary segment, which was the seat. So now I'm expecting that the system should come back and return not only a ticket number, but also a EMD number. So that is pretty much how the flow is designed in Amadeus. As you saw, it's pretty much point and click, and which means a lot less training and a lot less effort to learn complex commands. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and now quickly issue the ticket here. All right, so let me just recap what we have seen here today. My screen a bit. All right. So what we have seen now today is, you see my presentation now? Okay. Okay. So just a very quick recap on Selling Platform Connect. Today we saw in a live mode how we were able to access both the EDIFACT and the NDC content all on the same screen. We got familiar with the new tag of NDC, which is a purple tile, also comes up if you hover your mouse. Very important point, regarding the tagging, how a consultant can make out the difference. And of course, we invite you to attend our training sessions where each and every hyperlink is explained in detail. Please do get in touch with your account managers and do find out about when the next training session is. Along with the airline record locator and the Amadeus TNR, we also have a new order ID, which has been shown in a live mode. Now, the next logical question about how do you go online with NDC? So it's pretty simple. Once an airline decides to activate NDC content in our market, basically it's the agency and the airline who need to get into a contract. And once you inform, maybe through our account managers, that you are ready to start using airline content, a particular airline's content, then we would ask for a simple set of information. It would be like, for example, your office ID or IFA number, etc. And then maybe in 2 to 3 weeks' time, depending on the airline, we would be able to activate this particular content to you. And this is how the flow that we have seen today would pretty much work. So it's not, the NDC content on Amadeus is not just limited to Selling Platform Connect users, but also to the Amadeus web service users. So even in Natesh's presentation, he mentioned about the readiness of the new AIR and how it's fully compliant. So we do have the same provisions available of the Amadeus NDCX being available to the Amadeus web service users. So now with that, we come to the part where we open the floor to the panelists to please take some questions, which we have been receiving throughout the sessions from the participants. So thank you to all the participants for sending these questions. So I'm going to request the panelists, if you can please help me address these questions. So the first question is, it's for Nitesh. Nitesh, so the question is that we are receiving many queries related to GST compliance, interlining, and servicing. So how ready is Amadeus to support these features on the system?
Absolutely. So 3 different questions. So let me give it one by one. And if I forget the question, remind me. So the first one I remember is GST. So today on our platform, we can really support GST details, entering the GST details that you normally do on your EDIFACT PNR. So you put in your TIN number and all the required details, and the airline would send you the GST invoice as they traditionally do. So we today support it for Singapore Airlines, and we are in works to do it for Fairlogics carriers as well. So for American Airlines, it should soon be available. But I think in Indian market, as of now, as a carrier, Singapore Airlines is the key one, and it is already supported in there. The second part is around servicing, if I remember. So on the servicing side, as I previously alluded to, so we are already covering a lot of use cases. So most common of them is cancel, which is covers both refund or a void. So both cases are supported. Then you could be able to do voluntary changes. What that means is that, say tomorrow, if the customer comes back and if you want to reissue the ticket, revalidate the ticket based on OND time or a time change or a cabin change, you could do that right from the platform without going to Singapore Airlines. And third, even on the servicing side, very important is the involuntary changes. So what happens if there is a disruption, time change, schedule, whatever changes, those changes would come back and get dropped onto your familiar queue number 7, which is for your disruption handling. And you would see those familiar messages on your segment status, which are TK and the UN, which you know how to handle on EDIFACT. So similar behavior, very less disruption. So completely there with the servicing for your needs. However, we will not stop at that. As I said, the objective is to have the same level of servicing as we have for EDIFACT in the times to come. So we are really working on that. And a very key part of our investments next year is to have very advanced use cases going forward in the next years. And with that, I forgot the third question, third element that you had asked.
Yes, I think there's a concern about how compliant is it with the GST, servicing, feed meals, etc. Yeah.
Okay, did I answer all the elements?
I think you did. Interlining also you answered. So yeah.
Interlining, that's a very important one. So you just have to remember that in NDC, it's not the GDS or not Amadeus which is creating the offers. In EDIFACT world, we have all the data. We have all those agreements between different airlines, and we do the mix and match between different airlines and present you the offer. In an NDC world, say, for example, you're flying Delhi to New York, we will simply send the request to the airline. If the airline is supporting Interline on its side and has its Interline partners, it would simply recommend you back those Interline recommendations. So we, as an aggregator, fully support Interlines. Now it depends on the NDC provider airlines if they support or not. If an airline supports it, we do it.
Great. Thank you, Nitesh. Ramona, since we still have you on the panel, it's great. Any thoughts about the concerns people have around, the post ticketing, post issue activity, which you mentioned are clearly very important in this entire evolution of NDC?
Yes, indeed. And it's something I think you touched upon, and Nitesh and also myself in the first part of the presentation. I think servicing is a very important part of the entire end-to-end process which a travel consultant goes through. And in the current world, that usually is the part that takes up the most time. Because of all the complex entries and so on and so forth. And then you have the whole situation with ADMs and so on that you have to deal with. Now with NDC, the beauty of NDC, if I may say, is the fact that everything is point and click. As you showed. Gone are the days when you have all these complex cryptic commands. So those are great, but they also are open an avenue for error. That's why you have the famous ADMs that come. But here now we see that that piece is cleared up because everything is point and click. If you need to change something, you change it, and then automatically it happens. So you avoid any very complex trainings, errors, and so on. So I think this is actually a blessing to a travel consultant that we have, and we should leverage that as much as we can.
Nitesh, if I may just come back to you, because there is another very commonly asked question, and we are getting a lot of it on the chat, which is that how about the non-IATA agents? Is it only that IATA agents would be, benefiting, or is it for everybody?
Absolutely. That's a very valid and legit question. You want a short answer or a long one? Okay.
Up to you.
Okay. Let me give you the full answer so that people on the audience as well understand it as well now. So when IATA NDC was created, one thing that was very clear is that for access to NDC content, people need to have an identifier. In the EDIFACT world, this identifier used to be the PCC or the OIDs that you had. But in an NDC world, you need to really have an IATA looking like number. So what has come up is that many of these non-IATAs did not have these IATA numbers to them. So what the airlines have come up is identifying these customers using some supplementary IATA accreditations like Go Light and TIDS. Now, these accreditations are not supported by all the airlines. So, however, the good news is that the big Asia Pacific airlines like Qantas, like Singapore Airlines, and potentially Cathay Pacific will address these numbers, and that will be open to non-IATA customers. So this year we focused in India, primarily launching out to IATA customers, and now we will focus working with the teams in start of next year, early next year, we will start rolling out for the non-IATA agents as well. So we are fully compliant with this, and we will be talking more about how non-IATAs can shop and book and then use a consolidator for ticketing in the upcoming months.
Thank you, Nitesh. Mr. Ajay, sir, I think you wanted to ask a question. Please do go ahead.
Yes, I did, Swati. Basically, I want to know what happens to PNR history. Like you have a history for, this becomes important when there are certain issues or disputes with an airline. So in an NDC booking, is the history retained and retrievable?
Yes, we have the history of the NDC PNR as well.
Great, thanks. And another question which people have been raising in the Q&A, and I think it should be answered, is to clarify that NDC doesn't necessarily give you access or ticket capping, as it is called over here, for all airlines. I mean, you still need to talk to the airline, get the authority to ticket, etc. So if you could just explain this to everybody so that there's no confusion.
I think it depends on the airline, but I'll let Nitesh answer that.
Thank you, Swati. So what is happening in the industry is that airlines are using different modes for this capping or this ticketing on NDC. Some of the airlines like SQ and others are using an airline stock. That means you still are capped by the airline, and that stock is assigned to you directly by the airline to you. So if you are a ticketing agent, you still need to request those caps from the airline, and they would configure it on the systems. Unfortunately, today, those caps are not visible on the GDS, on the TOQD, if you are familiar with that. It is managed externally. There would be a time when these airlines would like to offer you UI systems where you can really see those capping systems, but it's directly managed with the airlines today. So yes, indeed, there are capping systems in place in NDC that has to be managed directly with the airlines who are using the airline stock. And then there are airlines which are using the neutral BSP stock. In those, the existing stock that you have from BSP could be used to issue NDC tickets.
Thank you, Nitesh.
You're welcome.
I'm not sure if we have time for any more questions. Mr. Bansal, may I hand over the floor to you for closing? Thank you.
Thanks, Swati. Thanks, Ramona. Thanks, Nitesh, for interesting and very insightful details on how NDC booking can be done. Let's just take a quick look at why today you can rely on Amadeus and everything that we are working towards in our NDC program to ensure that you reap all the benefits of this new technology on your booking platform. Amadeus offers a consistent booking flow for all NDC-enabled content normalized across different airlines. So a lot of time, the questions are there, what's in it for me and what's the main benefit for NDC? If you see, airlines are still using different versions of NDC standard, and the standard is not yet mature even today. Hence, these APIs have major differences in terms of flow and data. How Amadeus is solving this problem is by absorbing all these differences and hiding them behind a unique normalized interface. So for travel agencies, this would mean that their experience will be the same across various Amadeus touchpoints they are already using, be it online, be it on the offline or any of the other tools. And more importantly, for many different airlines following different procedures, it will still follow the same unique normalized process. And this is true for both EDIFACT, all types of contact, EDIFACT, API, or coming from any of the low-cost carriers. Amadeus has invested more than 5 billion euros during the last 2 decades, in research and development. We are constantly developing our solutions to cater to NDC so that travel agencies are able to adapt to the new industry standard with minimal investment required at their end. Our scalable technology is future-proof and fully aligned with the evolution of the industry. As we look forward to many more years of continued success, we would like to express our sincere appreciation to all of you who have shown consistent trust in Amadeus, and we hope that we shall further enhance our partnership. Thanks for joining the webinar today. We are confident that the momentum, along with the improving trend in travel, will allow us to maintain this positive progression towards recovery. Traveler confidence has gained considerable momentum over the last few months. There is no doubt the industry has rapidly adopted in the second year of the ongoing pandemic, getting ready for travelers to get back on the road. Let us together prepare for takeoff and hope that the new variant does not really hamper this progress. Thank you. Thank you once again.